good students.
Morning.
Sorry you didn't get to see the news clip, the ABC news clip from 2021. It was about us receiving our diplomas and everything, but the news had wind of it, so you didn't get to see it. But I'm one of those students who didn't receive my diploma. But I want to thank Mrs. Richardson for inviting me to speak to you today during the observance of Black History Month. So, there are some students who are here with me from this class, and were part of the resistance. And I'd just like for them to stand. I'm so glad that they came to support, and so you can see who they are. So what I'm going to do is I have consolidated everything that happened and I have a very short presentation. And I'm going to try to do this for you quickly. Well, it starts like this. It was only a few years after schools were integrated. You do know Charles County was segregated at one time. Well, right after that, segregation had come to an end. However, the school board, the schools, the teachers, students, and other people were not receptive of the change of integration. But especially in the school systems, probably because we fellowship so much together. So racial tension was at an all-time high in every walk of life, but especially in the school system. Students became so frustrated with the unfair treatment that they received that by May of 1969, which was just 13 months after Reverend Martin Luther King was assassinated, students realized that enough was enough. They were fed up. Something had to be done. So let me tell you a little bit about it. Students face all kinds of forms of discrimination from being told that blacks could never receive grades higher than a C in classes, to not being allowed to write about African Americans, being told that Black history was not allowed. But the tip of the iceberg came was when the band director excluded almost all the Black girls from his selection of majorettes and laureates. The students complained to the principal did nothing, he didn't even want to listen. It was then that the students decided that they had to do something more. So they organized a peaceful sit-in just 1 week before graduation. There was so much tension and there were so many ugly things that were being said about blacks. But nevertheless, we pressed on. And with the support of the local chapter of the NAACP, the students stood their grounds and continued to march, hold rallies, and do what they needed to do. So after hours of discussion, the school actually relented and ordered new tryouts and appointed a diverse committee to make selections. However, there were consequences for our action. Consequently, the payback for protesting racial discrimination cost us our diplomas. On the night of graduation, seniors' names were read, they marched across the stage, but when the ceremony ended, 22 seniors didn't get their diplomas. They were told that they would be mailed to them. That was our punishment for participating in a peaceful demonstration. But our parents, who supported us 100% because of their strong faith and their strong conviction in us standing up for what was right, stood by us, and they would not allow us to receive our diplomas by mail. They were behind us all the way. So we didn't receive them, at least not in 1969. Probably locked up in a vault somewhere in the Board of Education. Now, let me fast forward 50 years later. 50 years later, I am so grateful that the Charles County branch of the NAACP, they picked up on this injustice. They knew that we were dealt the wrong deal, and they decided to pursue this issue. In fact, it was the NAACP who hosted a banquet and ceremony for us in 2020 to honor those students who did not receive their diplomas 50 years ago. As the news of this event escalated, much publicity and pressure, and with much publicity and pressure from the NAACP, the Charles County Board of Education, in fact, did have a formal public graduation ceremony at this school right here, the New Plato High School, where you're sitting today, to apologize to the class of 1969 and to allow us to walk across this stage and receive our diplomas. And that was on June 10th of 2021, actually 52 years later. But it's because of the great acts and diligence that these students and others, that the educational system of Charles County today endeavors to advocate racial equality for all citizens of Charles County when it comes to education. Someone had to get the ball rolling. And I thank God for those who stood up for what they believed was right. Unfortunately, some of the class members passed on before they ever received their diplomas. Others have hung their diplomas beside of multiple other degrees and accolades that they received since the 50 years ago have passed. The majority of the class of the 1969 have already retired from the workforce. We're seniors now, we're in our 70s. But we will not be forgotten because we took a stand for something that was very important for racial equality in education in the school systems of Charles County. Finally, I want to say this. It was evident that the Board of Education at that time wanted to hurt us, punishing us for our actions as we stood up for justice and equality in education. But ultimately, it became a bigger plan than any of us ever anticipated. And that was to expose and address issues dealing with discrimination in the educational system. Although it hurt us, we were kids at that time, we were 17 just like you. But this plan initially turned out to make us stronger and resilient so that you would not have to go through any of the things that we went through trying to get your education. Ultimately, what was meant for evil actually turned out for good, and I am so grateful for that. I'm so grateful that we stood our grounds and we resisted. So that was a resistance to something good for a good cause. And so today I stand here with my diploma, which I received. Someone jokingly said to me, it took you 52 years to get your diploma? I said, yeah, I'm slow learner. But anyway, I want to encourage you students this morning to stand up for what you believe and for what you know is right. We live in a diverse world. Our world is diverse. And everyone deserves equality, especially in education. So the last word I'm going to say, my mother said to me, she said, you know, if you don't take a stand for something, you'll fall for anything. That's my story, our story, and we're sticking to it. God bless you.